Those are going to carry the voice and pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll call the meeting to order. Back to the floor.
Yes. Mayor Smith.
Present.
Alder Billiard. Present. Alder Hill.
Present.
Alder Keene.
Present.
Alder Lancaster.
Present.
Alder Matheson.
Present.
Alder Wilson.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Wes, any changes to the agenda?
Number 3, Holly had advised us that we can actually execute that if the board approves it as a resolution instead of an ordinance. Other than that, no other changes.
All right, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda as stated with Wes's adjustment as needed.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keene.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any questions on the consent agenda?
I'd just like to make a note on, I sent Wes a question and I just wanted it on the record so that it's clear in case anybody ever looks at it. On the sewer revenues, he said that the grants were included in that, because when I first looked at that, I'm like, we're at 17%, what is going on? There's a couple of grant revenues in there that weren't included because we haven't gotten it yet. So they were included in the total, but we haven't received them yet. So just in case anybody questions that. With that, I'm done. No other questions.
All right, that Wes, you want to approval?
Yes, please.
Joyce, did you want to?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
A second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keene.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, current outstanding invoices, drafts, and check paid invoices.
None to present this evening.
None? Perfect. Next section's citizen input, so if anybody'd like to step forward, state your name and your address, and tell us what's on your mind.
Good evening, I'm Angie Wilson. I live on Ridgeview Drive in Willard, Missouri. I'm here tonight because the Missouri State Auditor is here. The Missouri State Auditor's Office announced back in November that it would conduct a state audit of the city of Willard following receipt of 406 petition audit signatures verified by the Greene County Clerk's Office. Willard residents worked for 8 months to gather the necessary 386 in-person signatures required by the Missouri State Auditor Office to initiate a petition audit. This was in response to former Mayor Corey Hendrickson, who resigned as alderman on October 24th, 2023, the same day that he pleaded guilty to federal wire fraud and aggravated identity theft committed at his employer Prime Inc. Those crimes occurred while Hendrickson served 3 two-year terms as mayor of Willard, and Hendrickson is now serving a 3-year sentence in federal prison. Willard is a little town, and when a public official commits crimes in their private life, it has a ripple effect, and that is why those residents have sought an answer to this. And we are grateful for our First Amendment right to petition the government for a redress of grievances, and we appreciate the Missouri State Auditor's assistance. We look forward to getting answers from a thorough audit process, and we hope those answers ease the mind of residents and allow Willard to truly move forward. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close that section. All right, item number 4 is the State Auditor's Office. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I thought we were crossing. So what, you said we just do the first and second read on it if we wanted to?
If we want to, yeah, we can do the discussion. And then, because we've got Ryan's here from Hand Above to present.
Let's do that.
Well, I'll lead in first. Been speaking with Ryan of Hand Above Government Relations. We are trying to explore options to help fund getting a BD94 connection and upgrades to allow the city to grow in the north of town. Right now we're restricted by our old infrastructure and a lack of a direct connection in 94, which we've kind of discussed off and on. I've been able to have some discussions with our local representative to see if maybe the state can assist the city in financing a portion of this connection that we need. I spoke with Ryan last year about options the city may look into, and at the time I hadn't really had enough time to see what direction the city might need to take. As the time's gone on, this seemed to be an area that we could use some support with. Of course, legislative stuff and financing stuff that can be tenuous. So I'm hoping that with Ryan's presentation and understanding what he can do to help us in Jeff City, having discussions with other folks beyond just our local representative, it might be something the board might entertain as far as providing essentially what is lobbying to help the city get some funds. And then he will commit to that, hopefully obtain it, or support our representatives' efforts to obtain it, and then make sure it stays in the budget until when we get the funds in our hands. So with that, I'll hand over to Ryan, who can explain a little bit more about what he can do to help.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Wes. As Wes said, he and I have been having conversations for a year or better now about sewer upgrades in the city of Willard. So my name's Ryan DeBoof. I am a partner in a government relations firm called Han DeBoof. So we have our headquarters is in Jefferson City, but I am a Southwest Missouri guy, and I have split time between here and Jefferson City, and I would say I have houses in both places, but only a family in one. That's the rule. And the family's here. This is home. Springfield is home. So we have worked on similar projects quite a bit in years past. Some that come to mind. We worked with the city of Marshfield several years ago on their efforts to extend their sewer system. They were successful at receiving a state-directed appropriation for that project, a $5 million state appropriation. This would be a little bit of a smaller project than that one. And then we've also worked with the city of Stratford on their efforts to develop out a standalone sewer system that would be separate from the city of Springfield. They have $6 million in the budget for that project right now. It has become more commonplace than it used to be to pursue direct appropriations in the budget. I track a lot of data in my line of work, and if you look at the way the state's budget worked 25 years ago, the state's budget was 300 some odd pages long. Now the state's budget is over 600 pages long. And that's because the legislature has moved somewhat away from funding agencies and allowing them to decide what programs and what projects to fund. And they've evolved more into being much more involved in selecting the particular projects and programs to fund. It's in a state of evolution right now. We've seen a large push that direction, but now with Governor Kehoe in office, Governor Kehoe has been more, I don't know if he would say it this way, but a little more reluctant to go ahead and approve some of those. So we saw him make his first round of vetoes in the state budget this last time, and he vetoed a significant portion of the water and sewer projects in the budget. So we think it's viable for the city of Willard to go and pursue some of these kind of funds, and it's kind of a more politically uncertain place that's going to require a fair amount of maneuvering and management to push through than it has been, particularly during the COVID years when there was a lot of money in the state budget for these kind of projects. To the extent state-directed appropriations don't work out, there's other avenues that can be looked at through the Department of Natural Resources and the Department of Economic Development as well. As Wes said, he's had some conversations with Bill Owen. Bill has called me as well, and we've had some conversations about it. I know he's excited about pushing this forward. The timeline for that looks like the governor will start putting together his budget recommendations in about the middle of the fall. We will be spending the time between now and the beginning of legislative session in January to develop out relationships with legislators and explain the project to them. I will also begin to work with the governor's office and state agency directors that work on these issues to find out what exactly does a project need to look like for the governor to not veto it this time. And that's a new world we're trying to get through with a new governor to figure those sort of things out right now. Then legislative session begins in January. The budget starts in the House, so we'll be working very closely with Representative Owen and the chair of the House Budget Committee, Representative Dirk Deaton, who's out of McDonald County, to explain the project to them, to find out exactly what they need to see to feel comfortable allocating funds in the budget for that. From there, in about April, the budget moves to the Senate, and there our senator from Greene County, Lincoln Huff, is currently chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, and we've worked with him on many of these kind of projects before, so we will begin, before legislative session even starts, educating Senator Huff on the project as well. The way we've set up this contract is a very common way for us to set up contracts that are kind of connected to appropriations, and that's that we have a contract through legislative session, and then at that point, if money isn't in the budget and you guys say it was worth a try, maybe we try again next year, maybe we go a different path, then you're not on the hook to keep working with us and to keep paying us anymore after that. But if the money is in the budget, we kind of stack it such that we keep working on it into the next phase of the project to work through a veto process if it's in the legislature's budget and then the governor is deciding whether to veto the appropriation. That's more important than ever after the vetoes we saw this cycle. And from there, as I always tell Wes, it feels like once the money's in the budget and we're done with that, we're done, but we're not done, right? Then we start drawing down the funds and we have to start working through that whole process. So then the next phase of the contract would be that Wes and I and you all would continue to work with the state agencies to draw down the funds and work on the project. So that's it in a nutshell. I can give you the whole spiel on policy legislation too. I've told Wes that he will be amazed how many policy bills get filed in the state of Missouri, and I'll be tracking all that as well as part of this. So if you guys hear of things going on in Jefferson City that you have questions about or concerns about, I view every engagement as a general engagement. So if you have me, you have me. Put me to work on something. So happy to answer any questions.
Do you have a score sheet of your success record?
I can show you one. I don't have it with me. I mean, we've been very successful over the past several years. I'd say we've out hit most on our work on budget work. I mentioned 2 of municipal projects we've worked on. Third municipal project we've worked on was for the city of Warrensburg. They were seeking funding for an economic development project that they were pushing forward, so we were successful at getting that one. I would say, and like, this is a knock on wood thing, I don't think I've had a municipal project where we haven't gotten it funded. That said, I was not working any this past year when the large number of vetoes on the water and sewer projects. So I also do a lot of work with area not-for-profits on TANF funding at the state level, so we've had good luck with that. I can certainly share with you all kind of client list, and I have a slide that lays out some of our success on projects, so I'm happy to pass that along.
I think there's another angle we hope is successful for us as well. It's not just a sewer project in a lot of ways, it's an economic development project because we're held up until we develop the sewer capacity. So talking with Bill Owens, he seemed to suggest that it's a doable thing as well. He suggested that having Ryan on hand will be helpful to his process of trying to get this through. He said if we were asking for roads and things, he'd be a bit more cautious. But he does feel like this is something that is a reasonable ask. We don't ask for a lot in Willard. He said he can't remember the last time he was asked for anything. So that should also count in our favor. But at least this way, if we give it a shot, we know we've tried to the reasonable extent possible. If we don't give it a shot, we can still work on the other things that we're trying to work on as far as financing and earmarking and things like that. So it's not a kind of all or nothing approach, but we wanted to give you this approach. It's just something that we're doing everything we can conceivably do short of sending me up there to live in Jeff City for about a year to try and talk to all the people that need to be talked to. It just gives us a good shot at success. prefer to mull it over a little bit, we can separate the second readout. Do that another day, give it time for the board.
Whatever you guys wanna do.
I think it's fine, sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, I think it's fine to do first and second myself, but that's just my take on things.
I would be okay with the first and second, but I had a question for Wes. With you on board helping, this alleviates a lot of what you would be unable to do.
Yeah, I can't very conceivably go up to Jeff City as
Right.
regularly as necessary and run the city at the same
And
time.
be on point.
Not saying
where
we'll
you
give it a
would
good try, but yeah,
Yeah.
he has the experience and the connections that I just don't
Exactly.
have.
And I'm in Jefferson City the entire cable legislative session. So I go up, I leave 5 a.m. from my house in Springfield on Monday mornings, and I stay till Thursday, and I come home when the legislature comes home, so I'm on the ground.
I get and understand that, but I think that was something that might have been, yeah,
Yep.
needed to be aired out. That you would be able to do things that as local government we cannot.
That, yes, that is correct.
I think my question is, I mean, you know, we're gonna dream big, let's dream big, right? Let's-
Yeah.
So,
And
I mean,
just so everybody knows too, because Rebecca just told me that Holly informed her on Friday that this is a resolution, not an ordinance.
Oh, that's true, yes.
So we don't need to worry about it first and
I
second.
apologize, yeah, I did say that.
but would we consider, I mean, we've talked about our own processing. Would that be something to consider versus a patch from B to 94?
This connection would be a new connection, so it'd be very unlikely we could do it on our own. I've asked, and I hoped. Trevor can speak probably more to that, but I think the idea was we could maybe do 1,000 feet at a time. This is about 2 miles of a run, roughly.
Yeah.
Then you have rock pinnacles and things like that, so there's a lot of things you gotta do right. It's gonna be better for us to have a contracted group that can go out and do that properly from the get-go. It's also better to directly connect B to 94 versus what it does now, which is goes through regional. So it's sucking up some capacity from another lift station to handle material that is slowly delivering because it's behind the times. That also needs an upgrade at B. So we're getting the whole thing.
This is kind of a grander scale of everything
Yes.
all at once rather than piecemealing it together.
Perfect, yeah.
No, I'm talking about our own sewer
Treatment
processing,
center.
our own
Oh.
treatment center.
That will be a larger lift, I suspect. We do have that in the rate plan, hopefully to do it in, I think we put that 2030s, something like that. That's gonna be a heavy lift. We're gonna have to find land, do environmentals. It's not a quick, once the community decides we're behind it, it's not something we can deliver in, 5 years. It's gonna take a while.
The good thing about this project, Joyce, is
It gets us ready for that at that point in time.
but it also, when we get to that point, this infrastructure can be used towards that.
Yeah.
It's not like we would be abandoning anything that's going in now. We could just reverse the pumps and it would be usable still.
Okay, no, I'm just dreaming big.
No, you're good.
Oh, I don't agree. Now, we'll keep that one on the radar because I think in Willet's long term, it's gonna be a question we have to answer. Or forever be, sending to Springfield, which may not necessarily be a bad thing, but at some point, it's gonna cost us more to send it to Springfield than it is to figure out paying for our own treatment. So
Yeah.
it's a question we need to keep track of, something honestly assess and get the community's input on. Is this something you would support? And engineers have done, suggested areas that these things could be placed at. But most of the time, a sewer treatment plant is an NIMBY issue. Nobody wants it in their backyard. But just given the rate discussions, I think the community seems like there's some momentum there towards maybe supporting it. I think as conversations go, dreaming big becomes potentially more plausible, or at least they'll answer the question of, will you support this? And if it's a no, then we just make sure the infrastructure we have better delivers a connection to Springfield and less rainwater going through there. We want it to be improved and tightened.
Just a motion approving the resolution? Or not?
I make a motion that we approve the resolution as written.
Second.
Chairman, can you-
Just since it hasn't been stated out loud, do we need to state that resolution out loud real quick?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Let me read that. An ordinance, wow.
A resolution.
This is different from the agenda. A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for government relations services with Honda Book Government Relations. And then I have a first and a second. Do I need to hear those again after the reading, or can
I don't think
move
so.
forward? Thank you. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it, looking forward to it.
All right. Now we're on item number 4, State Auditor's Office.
Good evening. My name is John Leeser. I'm Audit Manager with the State Auditor's Office. Here to notify the board and mayor that we are beginning an audit of the city of Willard. This audit was brought about by petition process under Chapter 29 of state law, which allows citizens to petition our audit, or petition our office to do an audit of cities like this by submitting a sufficient number of signatures of registered voters, and that process has occurred, and so now we are compelled to do an audit. We're at the very early stages of this audit, and we've not yet fully planned the audit, but we do plan very soon, within the coming days, begin making inquiries of city officials and beginning our review of records. It's customary for our audits like this to consider and receive concerns from petitioners. And we have received concerns, and we've reviewed those concerns, and we welcome any other concerns that citizens might have. And citizens can go to our website at www.auditor.mo.gov, and there's contact information there. We, like I said, we will review and give some consideration to the concerns in helping us design our audit and the procedures that we'll perform for the audit. Typically for audits like this, our normal procedure is to establish the most recently completed fiscal year of the entity as our audit scope. And so for this audit, that would be, or for this city, that would be the year ending 12/31/24. Now, we typically would look at more recent things as part of that scope, and as part of that scope, we may go prior to that period too, to look at things that may have some impact directly on that audit period. Now, we haven't fully planned this audit yet, but I would suspect that based on some of the concerns that we've received, it's likely that we would perform some limited audit procedures prior to that scope to assess some of the risks that might exist in certain areas, and based on the results of those limited procedures, would then possibly reconsider our scope and objectives. And if we feel it's necessary to amend our scope and objectives, then we'll let you know about that. But I'm aware that the city has an audit every year, typically, of the financial statements, and I think it's also includes what's called a single audit of compliance with federal laws and regulations related to federal assistance that the city has received. Our audit objectives are different than the objectives of those audits. Those audits would have objectives of determining the fairness of the financial statements and compliance with those federal laws and regulations. We do our audits under government auditing standards for performance audits. And for performance audits, we're looking more for considering more the effectiveness and efficiency of certain aspects of city operations. We're looking at and evaluating the city's systems of internal controls over various parts of the city's operations. will be considering compliance, city's compliance with certain laws, probably state laws, maybe city ordinances, and maybe if there are some best practices out there, we'll give some consideration to things like that too. So our objectives will be different than what the objectives under the normal audit that the city receives. I think before you've got what we call an engagement letter, which this basically just sets out in a general way what our audit is all about, or what we expect it to all be about. We lay out what we expect our audit objectives to be, and we have 3 of those, and these are fairly standard for our office for audits of cities like this, and they are evaluate 1, internal controls over significant management and financial functions; 2, evaluate compliance with certain legal provisions; and 3, evaluate the economy and efficiency of certain management practices and procedures, including certain financial transactions. And as I said, there may be other audit objectives that we add or modify after we've begun our audit work. And like I said, we'll let you know about that if we feel we need to change those objectives. But these are the standard objectives that work pretty well for us generally on audits like this, and so at this point in the audit, we think those will probably work. Like I said, we may feel we need to make some modifications, and if so, we'll let you know. And we also, in this letter, we talk about what our standard methodology would be for carrying out our audit, reviewing minutes of meetings, written policies and procedures, financial records, other pertinent documents, and interview various personnel of the city, and test selected transactions through the various documents that the city maintains. And we'll obtain an understanding of internal controls of the city that are significant to those audit objectives, and assess whether those controls have been properly designed and placed in operation. And we may test certain of those controls to evaluate their effectiveness and design of operation. Obtain an understanding of legal provisions that are significant within the context of the audit objectives, and we'll assess the risk that illegal acts, including fraud and violations of contracts, grant agreements, or other legal provisions could occur. And then based on our assessment of that risk, we'll design and perform procedures to provide reasonable assurance of detecting instances of non-compliance significant to those provisions. So that's, in general terms, that's our methodology for doing these audits, and that's fairly standard for audits like this. We'll also do our audits in accordance with government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States, which requires we plan and perform our audit to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence to provide a reasonable basis for our findings and conclusions based on our audit objectives. And so we'll issue an audit report at the end of our audit that will contain any findings and conclusions that we have. And our report will include our audit objectives, scope, and methodology, and our audit results as appropriate. And our letter lays out some of the management responsibilities. You can read that, but basically, management is responsible for designing and implementing programs and controls to prevent and detect fraud. And there are some other responsibilities within here and within this letter. And also at the end of this letter, we talk about the payment, and state law allows us to recover our costs on audits like this. And we've made just a preliminary estimated cost range, and this cost range was at the top of the petition forms that the voters signed. So they were aware of this range, and the range is $80,000 to $125,000. Our office, we understand the impact that our billings have on cities like this, and we try to reduce the cost as best we can. We try to work efficiently to reduce the amount of time that we spend on the audits, and we try to be prudent about our expenses and things like that. But the law does allow us to recover our costs, and really that's all we're trying to do. Certainly we're not trying to profit on this. We expect to begin this, as I say, we expect to begin our work real soon. And we'll have probably a senior auditor and a staff auditor that will begin making inquiries to the city. I will be supervising them. An audit like this will take weeks and months for us to conduct. It's hard for me really to give a good estimate at this point, but an audit like this might typically take 2 to 3 months of pretty steady daily field work. And then after we complete what we call this field work, which is all the interviews and inquiries and reviewing records and things like that, then we have a process where we finalize our work papers and submit our work papers through for internal review. And at that time, we're also trying to draft an audit report and get that ready to present back to the city. And that process itself could probably take 3 months too. So, you know, that gives you a rough time frame on where we might be from here to where we have, you know, a product, a draft report to share with the board. And that's just really a rough estimate. It's really hard for me to give you much more specific than that at this point, but just based on other audits like this, that's a kind of a typical time frame. So when we have this draft report, we'll notify the city, and typically we would arrange for a meeting like this in closed session to go over the results with the city and ask for feedback, and you know, if there's understand whether we have some inaccuracies or some disputes or things like that. Try to work toward a final report product, which we would expect for the final report product to have also a response from the city management to any recommendations that we have. And you can see that if you go to our website where we have other audit reports that have been finalized. You can see kind of what they look like in terms of content, and maybe even get a sense for some of the recommendations that we've made to other comparable cities, and you can see how they've provided responses and things like that. So after we get the responses, and then we'll look at everything again in terms of, okay, the audit report, and then go through our quality control process, and then sometime after that, we would have a finished product that would be a public document. Any questions about what I've just laid out?
If you do just the 2024, and I think the citizens are more worried about prior to that. So if everything looks good for 2024, would you go beyond that?
Well, like I said, I think at this point, it would be likely that as part of our initial audit work, we would do some limited audit procedures to the periods prior to 2024 to get a sense for whether there is sufficient risk, maybe is how I would say that, in terms of problems, improprieties, and things like that, and then make a determination of whether we need to continue with that work. And like I said, if we think that's the case, we probably need to think about expanding the scope of our audit and possibly modifying our audit objectives. And if that occurs, we would be in a position where I probably need to talk with you again and notify you again about that. So that's really what I would anticipate at this point as far as how we would go about this audit.
So John, I know we're talking about some hypotheticals here. So theoretically, if during that limited portion, you decided to expand, as you said, do we still stay in the same price range, or does that become a new audit with a new $80,000 to $125,000 cost?
And we'd have to look at that. But this estimate here is not based on a plan for extensive work prior to 2024. So we'd have to really look at that again and consider whether that cost range also. So I guess what I'm saying is, when I come back to you if I were to come back to you and say, we need to expand the scope, change the objectives, I'd probably also need to relook at this estimated cost range and let you know if there's some changes to that.
Anybody else?
Kind of, I do, but I'm not. Say the 24 looks good, but you have an inclination that there was prior from the aforementioned person, and you want to dig deeper. What's the hope from finding that? Okay, so we now know that it happened. How does the city recover or have reparations for that, to recover the finances that are going to greatly impact our city, to simply know that he did?
That's probably a legal matter, and that really would be beyond what I could really
Right.
talk about.
But that's where my thought process is.
Yeah.
If we know everything is on the up and above and on board with current city officials and employees, if we find that everything is good there, but we find that our, like I said, the aforementioned, would he be responsible? Which, I mean, how is that going to happen? He's in prison.
Yeah.
That could never come to fruition.
Yeah, right.
What is the statute of limitations? How far back would you wind up going? Because I believe it's been a few years since this person was mayor.
Yeah.
And what,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good question too, and I can't really tell you that right off the top of my head. But yeah, that's a good question too, and good questions. And we do kind of keep that in mind too, as we're developing our audit and findings and conclusions. And you'll see that most of our recommendations, or really all of our recommendations, are prospective, going forward. This is what we think the city could and should do going forward. And if we were to have a hypothetical situation like that, our recommendation might be, after considering things like statute of limitations, what the city might want to do, pursue legal action or whatever. I don't really know what that might be, but I guess the process we might have that thought process about, okay, what could and should the city do?
I'll explore some of this with legal, you guys know.
Okay.
Do the petitioners have any recourse once the report is completed if they feel that your office did not delve deep enough into the past to satisfy their concerns? Do you just have the discretion to say, well, that's as far as we're going, we're not going to go any further? Or would you then have the ability to say, well, you're still concerned, we're going to open another audit? What does that look like?
Well, no, I mean, we ultimately decide what we will do.
Okay.
And we do try to be responsive to the petitioners, but ultimately it's our audit. We're responsible for complying with our audit standards, and so we go through the processes that we need to do to carry out an audit. And petitioners, I think, could ultimately petition again, but I think the law might say something about that. You have to wait 3 years or something like that. But yeah, so.
It would just be something you'd have to consider at that time.
Yeah, I mean, petitioners would have to reconsider whether they wanted to, down the road, whether they want to petition us again. But, I mean, if they're talking about this same issue, you're now 3 years farther down the line, statute of limitations,
Because that's what I think from your letter, you're more interested in finding if there were incidents from a previous, or are they wanting to know if there's continuing? So
Yeah.
this would tell
Yeah,
us there's continuing, but
Yeah.
if there are no continuing incidences,
Yeah.
their petition is for naught, because now they don't know if there was previous.
I mean, I guess you could look at it that way, but I
I
mean,
am,
like I
that's
said,
why I'm asking.
we will try to be, we are trying to be responsive to the petitioner's concerns within the extent of our manpower and resources. That's one thing we have to consider too. And, you know, like I said, going into this, we'll try to perform some limited procedures on previous time periods and, you know, make our best assessment as to whether in our view, additional work is warranted.
Well, thank you, John.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, next section, project manager report on sanitary sewer updates.
Okay, on the 94 lift station force main, all of our temporary easements been recorded with the recorder's office. The
I'm sorry, Steve, you
USDA
said-
has given approval to bid the project.
Excuse me, Steve. I didn't catch that first part. You said about the easement, you said that again?
I said that the 4 temporary easements required, all of them been recorded now with the recorder's
Okay,
office.
great, thank you.
We plan to advertise for bids August 5. We'll advertise in Astro Commonwealth, which is the general circulation in the county, and Alger Martin's Plan Room, which will be accessible for any interested prospective bidders. We're scheduling bid opening for September the 10th. That time we'll publicly open the bids, read them aloud. It'll be like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then Alger Martin will put together a bid tabulation. And we'll be back before the board to make a recommendation of where to go forward. With regards to the Meadows gravity sewer, the connection to the city of Springfield, the last sewer easement, temporary construction easement, last landowner has been recorded with the recorder's office. And plans and specifications being modified to upgrade the gravity mains sewer main from 12-inch to 15-inch diameter. This was on Mike's suggestion due to anticipated load. So we're moving forward on these 2 projects, and if you have any questions, be glad to answer.
Is this the easement we've been waiting for so long?
Pardon?
Is this the easement that we've been waiting for so
Finally
long?
broke through on
Perfect. Just wanted to make sure.
it. Yeah, it was it.
Good.
Anybody else? All right, good, thank you. All right, now it looks like we have a handful of resolutions. Back to number 6, or you want me to do it?
I will do that here. A resolution by the Board of Alders of the City of Willard declaring a Case 60 XT skid steer as surplus property and authorizing its disposal.
This is the one we talked about. We're just seeking your approval to declare it as surplus. We'll put it out and see if we can get a good price for it, and then those funds will be used and applied towards the purchase of the new skid steer.
Make a motion to approve the resolution as read.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane. Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson. Yes. Alder Wilson. Thank you.
We need something that we can bang on that pops.
You know, some places have little lights.
Like family feud. Whoever likes that first one.
A resolution by the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, accepting the agreement with the Empire District Electric Company requesting changes in street lighting service pursuant to the provisions of the Municipal Electric Service Agreement.
Public Works has been upgrading some infrastructure, and there was a street light that we were going to ask Liberty to remove and reposition in a new location. The new location, you know, how LED lights kind of focus straight down now and they don't kind of cone out. It would effectively light up someone's yard but not the street. So What we're gonna try is the costs will come out about the same if we remove it now and later decide we probably should put it back. We potentially save if we remove it and realize, hey, we didn't need it after all. So, as I understand it, they're gonna set it up to where Public Works can pull the thing out, and we'll just see how it works as future needs of will it go on, or if current needs determine that we need the light to go back, we'll reach out to the beginning schedule to reinstall date for the light. I believe it moved back several feet from the current location.
Yeah, Mike was talking to me, I didn't hear you.
That's it in a nutshell. Yeah, we just need your blessing to make a change to the street lights.
It's not my yard, is it?
No?
That's all right. Yes, there's a tree there. I make a motion that we approve the resolution as written.
A second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Wheeler.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keen.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. A resolution by the Board of Alders of the City of Willard authorizing the mayor to approve 20 utility credits as an incentive for residents to participate in a comprehensive plan survey.
Tackle this one, you want me to tackle?
Oh, I'm all over this, since I'm talking already, I might as well. So, our comprehensive plan is currently, in steering committee. We're picking up some good, steam, I like the direction it's going. It's gonna be adding an active transportation, we're gonna be revising our future use plan, our major thoroughfare plan, to the comprehensive plan. So we would like public, participation in that. The school has graciously offered us a spot at the football game on August 29th where we can set up a booth and talk to as many people as we possibly can, but we'd like to set up a drawing with some stipulations. Those stipulations are posted in the memo stating that, one, they will download the Willard app or show that they have downloaded the Willard app. Two, they will willingly give their information, whether text or email or both, so we can contact them about these meetings as they're coming up. And then we will, on that online form, when they put their information in, it will automatically assign them a number. We'll just put 1 through 568 or whoever applied into a randomizer, and then hit go, and it'll pick how many people the board approves, and then that will go directly to their utility account. It's not a cash out. They're not going to go buy Domino's with it, anything like that. It's going to go right to their utility account as a credit. So, so that's the. I put in the resolution 20 utility credits. It's really up to the board on what they want to do and how they want to go about it.
What's the value of one credit?
Is
Is it like a kilowatt or?
It says
$50.
on here.
Okay.
I could give away power.
Did it say on there? I didn't
Power
see
company.
Are you limiting it to outside of city employees
No.
or, okay,
So if you are a city employee, you do not qualify.
okay, that's,
Yes.
I figured that there were gonna be some stipulations there.
Sadly, we don't count.
But we want our input too.
Yes, we want your input too. I'm just not gonna pay for it.
Typical.
You will keep your current salary, okay?
I done something similar to this in Kansas, and we were able to make sure it's truly anonymous and it was transparent, and somebody was like, well, I'll prove that I wasn't. So it'll be, I'll create the randomizer and we'll do the picking and we'll assign numbers. If anybody needs to look at who got what, we can be transparent with it.
So if the board is comfortable with the number of the
Resolution says $20, memo
And the
says
memo says 50.
That just,
it should be 20
20
participants at
for
$50.
at 50, okay.
$50. It says
You got
20 credits
both
for
on
$20
the-
each.
On the resolution, it's 20 for both. $20 for 20 credits.
Well, as you know, I am not perfect, and numbers are not good to
Numbers
say
are
it
not
ain't
your
so.
strong point.
So it was my intention to have 20 drawings for $50. So, but I am willing to accept whatever the board deems proper. So,
So if you're gonna wanna change it, you'll need to make a motion for the correct amount.
As amended by the board, wink, wink.
So we would need it to be amended to 20 bill credits in the amount of $50.
And will you need that read before we,
I don't think we did.
no?
We would make
Yes.
the motion to
Amend the-
approve the resolution with the amendment.
And that would need to be read.
Okay, I will read that. A resolution by the Board of Alders of the City of Willard authorizing the mayor to approve 20 utility credits in the amount of $50 as an incentive for residents to participate in a comprehensive plan.
Is it the mayor or the city administrator? Because the resolution is written as the city administrator to approve.
So I think the intent behind that is that I will approve it through the randomizer, but you authorize the mayor to sign this.
Okay.
Tuesday, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, I will administer it, but he will authorize
Okay.
it based on your.
Make a motion to approve the resolution as read.
A second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Wheeler.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder King.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Look at that, we're paying attention to details.
A resolution adopting the job description for the position of HR Coordinator Assistant to the City Administrator for the City of Willard, Missouri.
So that's what we kind of talked about. With your approval, this will make the job position of HR coordinator / assistant to the city manager an official position for the city. We'll be paying for this by freezing the position of HR director and reallocating those budgeted funds from that position to this new position effectively your approval.
And you changed what I said, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And that's good, Joyce. Okay.
Yeah, the original had something else there that he's updated. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't read through it fast enough.
Just checking.
I plagiarized my last ordinance and I missed. Like I'm not perfect.
It was listing the attached city clerk and POI.
Yeah, we were
I
sampling this.
thought that, no, I thought that too, and it confused me. Maybe
Yeah.
that was what I was gonna ask
Maybe that
you
was it,
about.
yeah. We already
That's why I
have
had
on this.
questions. I was confused when I saw POI in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's updated it, so I make a motion that we approve the resolution as written.
A second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Wheeler.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder King. Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinances. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Southwest Missouri Joint Municipal Water Utility Commission for relocated water storage space in Stockton Lake, first and second read.
I had to refer to my notes on this one because Holly and I had some last minute discussions on it. There are some things that we will need to address, likely through a special meeting because there's some budgetary consequences on some of this. As she's dug into the contract, our understanding was there's a get out potential and some other year-to-year budgetary. Her understanding as she's read through it is we will need to commit potentially the full amount, even if we take the annual payment option. To do that, we'll need to amend the budget and encumber the funds, and to do that, Carolyn will need to have a dig through with me and make sure that we can afford it in light of the rate plan. So there's a few steps to make the pass-through contract a reality, I think, in the spirit in which it's presented. So tonight, all we're going to be doing is considering the membership piece, which was originally what started the whole ball rolling, and we're trying to get back in, and we signed the directors, and then we don't have the contract. So that's the piece that we will be, if you wish, approving this evening, is to formally sign the contract and become contracted members of the group. She will do some more digging as far as the pass-through contract, the terms mostly known, but it's the dollar amount that we have to encumber. We're waiting to hear back from JMUC as far as what is the drop dead date. You need a decision from the city, and then we will reach out to you guys and schedule a meeting accordingly to discuss your intentions and your support.
Just being
for
a
that.
contracted member, what is the financial obligation that comes with that?
She says as far as this, there is no financial obligation on a member piece. It's once we sign the pass-through, and I believe the memorandum of understanding, that there becomes a financial commitment. So we are not acknowledging those pieces this evening with this vote. And is she relaying anything you just said beyond that?
Nope, and I looked up some of the stuff, prepare, and that's all accurate.
Okay.
Yep.
Everybody good with first and second read tonight?
As far as only becoming a member, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Because if there's a cost that he wasn't.
Because we're not acknowledging the memorandum of understanding, we're not acknowledging the pass-through contract this evening.
Okay.
So with those stipulations, yeah, she said we're at that point of there being a large financial commitment that we're making. So she's recommending we do a special session and we separate that out. And I think she made the modifications, did she not? No, you don't know.
Can we just say no to this and call it done?
Yeah.
You said.
Oh, say no to the whole project?
If we don't see the point in it or the necessity? I mean, that's kind of isn't that kind of the reason that we came out of it in the first place? Is that we didn't feel the necessity of it? What, a year ago?
A year ago? Yeah, I think it just kind of died.
I think they came out of it before we came on and we voted.
No, we voted to come out of it because we initially had the discussion. They came and presented to us and we joined in. And then after a little while, we're like, why are we doing this? This is kind of, when it became time for budget reallocation, if I remember right, it was time for budget review. And we realized that this was kind of an unnecessary, or I thought we discussed that it was kind of an unnecessary expense. And so we opted to leave the table, if you will. And the board voted to leave the table, for lack of a better term. And then it came back up, and now we've pushed this along for a month and a half, I think. So,
I think that's a separate discussion.
was it a separate?
No, I think that
Okay.
what you're proposing is a separate discussion than this
Sorry.
agenda item.
Okay.
I mean, so what you could do is you could make a motion to postpone this indefinitely, then we can retrace and come back later and the bigger picture decide if we want to not be a part of this or to
How
be a
long
part
do
of
we
this.
have to decide to be a part of it?
They have given us a date. I mean, from my perspective, if you guys have the definitive direction of no thanks, then it would help me to know not to waste more time on it than
Yes, I know we're
necessary.
getting close to the deadline and
Well, that's the other thing. They have not given a deadline. It's just been very pushy as it's coming, it's coming. And to me, that's like that's a high pressure sales tactic.
Yeah.
And with no date in certain, just the date is coming, the date is coming. I don't like that type of sales tactic. Right. There's 4 left in the basket.
Well,
They're
how
going
about this
fast.
unless Wes or Justin has a better idea, then if you want to make that motion to postpone, we can, and then we can come back on next meeting's agenda and just go with thumbs up or thumbs down, we want to be a part of this or not. Let's
I
decide.
mean, you
Because
can
it needs to be
essentially,
yes or no.
if I understand, you make no motion and it just will kill it.
Motion.
Yeah, but I don't know that what she's talking about is in the
Yeah.
hearts and minds of every other member, because there might be, some of the members might still want to be involved. So we need to go back and rehash that issue,
So motion to postpone indefinitely kills the question,
this one.
and then motion to postpone to a date certain would reset it to future meetings. So motion to postpone indefinitely kills it.
kills this agenda item.
Correct.
So then it comes back.
But if we
to
come
this
back and we
point
say,
where
yeah, we do want to be a part, and then we buy both, then we come back and we do it again. Yeah.
And, I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought, didn't you pursue and research it and come back to us and say, hey, this does make sense for us?
So there's from that perspective, it was on the water shortfall. Copper Engineering, who's been working on our water side, anticipates, and I forget the exact date off the top of my head, around 2040, I believe. There'll be a need of 700,000 gallons a day. This will provide 500,000 gallons a day. However, the key pieces to understand from the way I understand it is it provides access to.
That's the kicker. We don't have the
Yeah, so
infrastructure.
there's still infrastructure to consider. It's also storage, not
The
specific
actual water.
water. So there are other questions to address. This is the first piece. And it's kind of like, I think the analogy that was given was this is kind of like having food and then you go to buy the fridge to put it in. It gives you access to something. You just got to create the necessary pieces to make it usable. Are there options that will make it usable? Yes, but we haven't explored them. We probably wouldn't explore them until we say, okay, we've got this 1,195 acre-feet of water storage. The infrastructure is now in. Who can help us treat it and deliver it to the residents of Willard? So from one perspective, it's an insurance policy because it provides us access to somewhat drought-proof water in the Stockton Lake area. But the how is
Are we still,
then the next
then we're
question.
still beholden to Springfield because we're gonna end up having to
that's-
have Springfield truck it to us.
Which is
The
what-
way
Yeah.
he described it when he was here the last
Yeah,
time.
that's the conversation I'm
Go to them
having.
and then back to us.
I think the public, just from the sewer discussions, has maybe a turning distaste for being tied into Springfield for right or wrong. You know, in the future, I mean, 20 years in the future, is there gonna be some magic equipment that we can pump water into and it makes water? Maybe. I mean, we don't know, but also maybe not. We don't know. So it's best, in my opinion, just think of it as an insurance policy. If you don't have water, a lot of the other plans will come new. But if you do have water, then some of the other plans you have to figure out. Just don't know. For you guys, if you give me direction one way or another, it would be hugely beneficial. I can give them direction that they probably are waiting on. If there's no taste for it at all, then that
That's
would be.
why I'm curious about the date certain. If we're sitting at the table, that's fine if we are a member, but at what point do we have to actually pony up cash?
So you don't have to pony up any cash until, the bills become due. However, if you make a decision to sign on to the pass-through contract, and we understand as well the MOU, we have to at that point have encumbered funds in our reserve. That's a large financial piece. And even if we choose the annual plan, we still have to encumber those funds. If we choose to withdraw from the agreement, those funds are, as we currently understand it, still due. So, potentially 500,000 or 400,000, I forget the number again, apologies. But we've already agreed to pony that up and then we have nothing for it. So that does represent a risk, and I think the questions are, as I understand it at this moment, today, valid. Certainly, and it's something that we would need to be ready to explain. The Water Board did have a chance to listen to it. They recommended it, but again, that was based on last week's understanding. Holly's been doing some digging, conversations with their attorneys. I believe there's some other communities that have signed on. Whether they've asked the same questions we have, we don't know. So we can't assess the merit of what they signed on to and what information they had. I believe there's 4 communities that have withdrawn.
Is that something that we can table until further findings from Holly?
I think that will be okay. Yeah, I think we can do that. Right now, I think the position from JMUC is they need everybody signed on that's going to sign on so that when the contract arrives from the Army Corps, they'll be able to deliver it and get things rolling on. It also authorizes them to sign their piece. When that is, again, I don't know. I believe the terms of the pass-through contract are pretty well locked. It's the numbers that might change. That's, again, my current
And are those
understanding.
dependent on how many people are a part of the group? So
Yeah,
as people drop out, then does the obligation
Or
go
goes
up?
up, yeah.
yes, that's a good question.
'Cause that's
The other
concerning.
piece that we understand is if somebody else signs on to it and doesn't pay their piece, we would be responsible for about 1.95% of whatever their cost is. So if, you know, it's 100,000, it's 1.95% of that. Then the other piece is we can choose to take on more storage if we want.
And sell that to other municipalities that have not participated theoretically.
Yeah. I understand there is interest in buying, you know, wood rights back and forth, but again, until things materialize, it's, you know, we can say what we think.
There's also people who are selling bridges,
Yeah,
literally.
I think they go to nowhere.
It was, no, there was,
Railroads.
no, there's a,
No.
it was on the news the other day. They're
Yeah.
selling bridges and you can purchase a bridge.
No, that I didn't know.
All right, let's deal with
So-
this, let's deal with this item, let's deal with this agenda item. And if we need to come back and go over the whole thing again on another date, let's do that.
Can I ask Wes a question while we're on
Of course.
it? Would it behoove us to hear Cochran's understanding of it, that we're not being a salesman telling us, or, I mean, because after you talked to Cochran, you had a different viewpoint, so I just don't know. I mean, I'm
So
not a water
what I
person.
could do is I could send you their comments, and if you want to read those, they're not too overwhelming, I don't think. They're pretty plain speak. If you then think reading those, you'd like to have Cochran come talk to you guys, I don't think they would mind, but I don't know if it will necessarily add to the conversation. But happy to do that.
So we make a motion to table this until further,
Until date certain.
until date certain.
Just table it, or postpone it until the next, I guess, the next meeting.
And I second that.
All right, so sorry, who was the first?
Joyce?
Joyce. All right,
I get
and
second.
then, okay. I have a first and a second to motion to table to the next meeting. Alder Beelier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane. Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. An ordinance adding Schedule 4 of the Willard, Missouri City Code, Land Development Code, Section 400.521, in order to allow accessory dwelling units, first and second read.
I've told long enough, so I can let Mike have it then.
Buckle up, this is gonna be quick.
What you said last time. What you said last time.
Do you have your numbers correct?
Four hundred dot five twenty-one is absolutely correct.
Okay, then we're good.
Okay, so, as we talked about before, the accessory dwelling unit is an opportunity for citizens to have a little bit of flexibility with their land. We talked about a little bit about checks and balances, how we don't wanna have, you know, people coming in and putting 5 of these on their property and then having a condominium in a residential neighborhood. I believe with the tables A and B in section 400.520, look at that, Casey, see?
I'm so impressed.
Between that and the wording in here for limitations on height and size, it can't be more than 80% of the primary residence, and it can't be greater than table B. So, I feel like this is not gonna be an everyday, you know, everybody's gonna do this. Plus, the architectural design on this where it has to match the primary structure, it has to match the neighborhood around it, further, complicates things. So, any questions on the ordinance? Any concerns? Really?
You did a really good job explaining it with the last meeting.
Back to you, Wes.
So why is an ADU limited to 2 bedrooms?
Because we want it to be a secondary structure.
Okay,
We want it to be a secondary to the primary, so.
not greater than,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely not greater than. I said, somebody did bring a loophole up
Mhm.
to me. They said, well, this is for ADUs, right? So I could put a 5-car garage on my property and then my ADU is above my garage and it's 80%. And I said, yeah, I guess if it meets the table. Well, if you have a 2-story house, primary residence, you could do that, but they would still have to meet the table of the accessory dwellings. So you'd have to have a really, really big lot to be able to pull something like that, but it's possible. It's possible. So I think for the 99%, we're really, really safe. We specifically drafted this to avoid the 2-story building 3 feet from the property line. So that's what we're trying to get away from.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
I'll second.
He's so tired of hearing me talk.
You
can hear that in his voice.
He's all like I know who it is.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane. Alder Lancaster. Yes. Alder Matheson. Yes. Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, appointing the municipal court judge for the City of Willard, Greene County, Missouri, for the term commencing on July 28th, 2025 through July 28th, 2027, and establishing the judge's hourly rate. First and second read.
Mike was supposed to talk longer, so I had a chance to recover. So that's unfortunate. This one's actually really easy. We noticed Judge Doran's appointment needed to be renewed. He seems to like working with our community and we see benefit of his continued involvement with our community. He has not asked for any increase in his pay. So we are, after getting some positive feedback from staff as well, we are seeking the board's approval to extend his appointment for another term. We think it's in the community's best interest to do so.
Make a motion, we approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson. Yes. Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Flock Group Inc. for public safety cameras and software. First and second read.
This is one we had some discussion on last time, so like previously, if you want to separate reads, you can do so. The pricing on this one, they've gone back to the table a little bit just to get the pricing under the Blue Shield grant amount, which is $50,000. So the original package was $52,299. 13 of these cameras is $49,299, which gets us right under the Blue Shield grant cap. And then there's a 10 camera package, which is $42,999, which is the minimum count to waive install and permitting on this. They were giving us a deal on that. And again, also that would be under the Blue Shield grant cap. I'll put ahead my notes on that. Oh yeah, there it is. So the pricing is based on the specials for July only. Of course, they, it's not necessarily need to rush if we want. I suspect they'll sharpen their pencil again. If you want to mull it over, we can push the second read off to another date, especially if you have some additional feedback you'd like us to look into before making a final commitment on this.
How much is the grant covering?
It'll cover $50,000 even.
For how long?
It'd be year one.
And then after that?
After that, it's a year-to-year contract, so if we don't like it or it's not delivering what we want it to deliver, we can wipe it out.
So the grant covers the initial year cost?
Does the grant have to be reapplied for each year?
We're not sure on that one. So the grant is being made available this year without any application, as I understand it, other than soliciting it when we're ready. It's not like a competitive is what I'm getting at. So that one surprised me too. I think Governor Kehoe is keen to get people interested and excited about the Blue Shield. so they did make those funds available. That does create kind of a year one, especially if we get it under the grant amount, it's a year one risk-free approach. They have committed to doing year-to-year contracting on this, so, you know, if we decide not to appropriate funds for a future year, it's a no harm, no foul, and we can budget them and decide later on next year we don't want to renew it. That's also an option as well.
When we first looked at this, it was like 5 cameras. Why did it jump up to double
So
that?
Tom gave him his wish list of, you know, I'd like to see this area looked at and kind of 160. I think it stemmed to 18 cameras off the top of my head, and at least 2, maybe 3 were, I forget the exact term, I want to call them all access, that may not be their term, but we have omnidirectional views and certain amounts of proactive storage on the roundabouts, which are areas, as I understand it, that have a lot of leaving the scene of accidents there. So folks drive off, you know, I don't know about you guys, I've been in an accident some years ago and it may never happen again. You remember kind of the vague description in that stressful moment of, well, I think it was a brown Toyota and, you know, I think it had a smiley face sticker on it, but that's all I got. And, you know, they're still off on their way. They can actually input that into this system and it will get a hit on that. And we watch them do that. I guess it's got AI in there. They have told us, you know, don't necessarily panic and think, oh my gosh, you know, you're part of this network. It's our data, it's our system. It will ping with other ones as far as, you know, maybe someone has a vehicle coming our way and we might get a hit and say, hey, your vehicle is coming through town, and it can help officers that way. But it can also help us the other way, because if now we found the description and we've identified the vehicle that had the accident, we've got that access that's recorded on the roundabout, it gives the police department the evidence that they need to effectuate an arrest, or maybe they were policing Hoffman Hills or something. Now they're looking it over there, but they didn't see it. But now they can do the investigative work and find, based on the limited description, someone like me might give who's angry and frustrated and wants somebody to pay for hitting my car. There's a greater chance of finding them. I also understand that they've been helpful in finding runaways and lost children and things like that. So it's not just an auto-only type thing. It can be greatly helpful. And they did share a story, I think, in one such incident when they presented. So I think there's benefit. It's certainly getting a risk-free trial. I mean, it's something that, yes, we'll have to pay up front and get that money back from the state. I don't imagine it's going to be inherently difficult for us to do. And give it a chance to succeed and show us what it can do, if anything. And if not, we can have that recommendation before the year's renewal. We can make an agenda item and make sure it's discussed and the board has an opportunity to decide if they want to renew it or not.
Is this something the governor is wanting? Or like he's on board for it, he'd like to see it
So
implemented?
he's looking at investments as far as public safety, and this is one of those things that we can deliver some public safety
Because we're on
aspects.
sewer.
Yeah, no, we can't put it on sewer, unfortunately.
I'm just saying, wash your hands.
Yeah. It is public safety to a degree, but different kind of.
Different kind of public.
Whole
What they
different
call
thing.
pork belly, where they,
Yeah, no, we're
you
not
want
gonna
this
get
if you
into
want that?
that. No. No, that's a different ask, but, I mean, it's available, it's on the table. There may be future grants. I mean, we may find next year there's another 50,000 made available to us. We may not, but this year it is available, and man, I hate to give up free money. Now, that's not to say we have to use it on their side. So if the board has a preference not to do something like this, there are other things that the police department has been identifying as things they'd like to look into, so we can maybe look into that instead.
The grant is available and does not necessarily have to go to.
Not necessarily have to go on flock, no. It's just an option that was a bigger ticket item that we built on.
Yeah.
With that, I don't know if I have anything else to add, but I'm happy to answer more questions if you have.
Do you know where these cameras are gonna go be?
I had a lovely little map, and I don't have that available. Yes, roughly. I mean, we have a outbound on 160, inbound on 160 on those ends, roundabouts. I think somewhere around Jackson Street going into downtown.
Probably AB in Jackson, AB South.
ABZ
For main
and O
thoroughs.
were originally on the list.
And of course, that may change if you choose one of the lower packages, we may have to pull some of the traffic out of those areas. I'm happy to send you the map, I know I have one somewhere, I can send it to you.
I don't have any further.
Can we get a motion?
Make a motion to authorize as read.
Which plan?
Oh,
Sorry. I just looked at my notes and realized, so a reminder on those is the original package, which is $52,299, so that would be a little above the grant amount, a little bit out of our pocket. There's the 13 camera package, which is
I'm
$49,299.
gonna interrupt right there. So for about $2,000, we can get a $52,000 meeting. I don't want, for me, I don't mind having a small out-of-pocket for something that may benefit.
But for clarity, if you
Further.
keep the system, that will be
It'll cost us
the
that every year.
anticipated annual payment.
2,000, but if
No,
it's
52.
Kind of like a trial.
So this year will be 2.
Well, let's pay the 2,000 over the
Correct.
50 for this year, and then next year we decide if we want it.
Or don't want it.
Or don't want it. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
We're not obligated after this
Exactly.
year.
Scrap it,
I
if we don't want to spend
understand
that money on it.
No.
that. Yeah, but moving forward, we may be obligated if there's no grant, then, but if there, grant's not available, I don't know that we would, unless it was so tremendously beneficial.
It'd be a good opportunity to look at the return on investment.
Right.
Because we'll look at it for a year. If we choose option B, this is the 49,000, 50 covers that. And then we'll look at how it performs for a year. If it's beneficial, then that's something to consider. If it's not,
We could upgrade it.
Consider that. Yep. Then they didn't want to update it.
And
they
probably
can say-
Danbury too as well, I'm sure. I'm sure if you didn't want to go one.
Thank you.
I mean, our ordinance doesn't tell us we're choosing one or the other, we're just giving you the authority.
No, there's a contract that did make it in there, and that's these 3 options. That's why I wanted to be clear in the motion, which one we're picking, if any, if not.
So we're calling with 52,000, option A is an alpha, the
49,299 is 13 cameras, we'll call that option B, and then option C, 10 camera package, $40,299.
Are we leaning at B?
So, I mean, Shannon recommended option 2, with option 3 as an alternative.
Yeah, I think she's just repeating the
Okay.
next report information we got.
It doesn't really make it doesn't make sense to go with C. I mean, because the grant covers all the way up to B, so take B.
Option 2 was the 13 cameras, correct?
Correct.
And what was option 1?
Option 1, I believe that is 18.
It was 18.
And that was 52.
52,299.
And it makes sense in order. Unless we don't want to spend any money.
My personal opinion is that I'm okay with a little extra to have 5 extra cameras.
Yeah, that was the-
That's an option also. Whatever you guys want to do.
Well, I don't know, as far as to have a discussion on that, to say who's feeling stronger to A or B, and then present that and motion it. That
Well, I
would
mean,
be-
at one point, Tom said he had some bank hold money that he could put towards that, so it's not
He was
like
gonna put the crime recovery or victim recovery funds, I believe is what he called it.
I mean, I
It
think,
was like 11 or 12,000, because at the time that we originally were presented with this, it was around 17,000, and he had the 11,000 kitty, if you will,
Okay.
to put towards that.
so, yeah, I mean, the money is there to pay for it, it
Yeah.
sounds like out of his budget, so. I'm with
Unfortunately,
Jerry.
he could, I wish I could ask him, I didn't know about that piece, but.
He did mention he had a kitty that.
Yeah, he's
covered.
dealing with family issues at home.
Okay.
So Jeremy, make the motion for the first
Make a
option.
motion for option A as read.
I second that.
I have a first and a second. Alder Williard.
No.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Key.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. An ordinance establishing procedures for public records requests under the Missouri Sunshine Law, RSMO Chapter 610, first and second read.
Didn't have a chance to talk to Holly about this one, and just in it, maybe simpler just to repeal our current ordinance and revisit this later. What we're trying to do is align the city's sunshine processes to state regulations. And after we did this, I thought, man, that might have been simpler to do. So we'll just table this one for future meeting to clarify the language.
Postpone it might be appropriate.
Yeah.
So we will postpone it indefinitely,
We'll postpone the next one.
postpone it till next meeting.
Need a motion for that, or
Yes, please.
make a motion to table,
Postpone.
postpone ordinance to the next meeting?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard. Yes. Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Key.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next item, city administrator remarks.
Okay, so, I think, apologies, I think I might have covered this, if not, here it goes, if so, please tell me to stop it. We're working very early on 2026 health insurance. We're anticipating another rise, so we've been exploring options as far as how do we control the premium and also offer our employees better access to benefits. One of the big questions or big asks we had in our state interviews was providing coverage for employee spouse or employee child combinations. So we've posed the question to staff, if cost wasn't an issue, what would the enrollment look like? And actually it turns out that where we thought it would just be employee spouse, employee child, we focus is actually a lot now saying we like family plans. So the one big barrier to that for city staff is just cost. The city doesn't support any costs or any support for any plan other than the employee. So 100% employees covered. 100% of employee or employee spouse is covered, but then the spouse has to be paid for and so on. We have found a sort of hybrid plan that's similar to what I'm familiar with from my former community. And on its face, it looks like an opportunity to potentially keep some of our health dollars within the community, so it benefits the community. We had a recent discussion with Pillbox, and it sounded like something that they would be willing to work with us, and it gives us opportunities to maybe expand that as we see success with it. What it is sort of a hybrid plan where the city insures itself, and then we have a stop loss policy to make sure we don't blow up our budget with a bad policy here, basically. So we're doing some digging, make sure it does what we think it does before making a recommendation to the board. We do have, with the change from United to Anthem, our insurance has now been pushed out to March. So we have a little bit of time to do some more tire kicking. But as soon as we kind of heard some of these options for local input and control, kind of got my ideas perked up, you know, and you think, oh, that's a great way to support the community. So we're going to look into that a little more seriously and hope to have something on that. I just wanted you to be prepared for that. Moving on to roundabouts. Yay, we found the agreement and we know what it is. We've had some conversations with MoDOT and care of those, which ones we can do. As a city, we can tackle the inner circle as far as care and ultimately, hopefully, landscaping as well. And then I asked them about the edges because, you know, we'll see that mode and then the edges look a little rough. So they said if we happen to do that, they won't fight us on it. So we put the challenge to the team this morning as far as, you know, if you get there and it needs done, please do it. And if you get there and they haven't done it, great. You just maybe trim around the railings where they don't see the weed very much. So it'll be a little extra legwork for us, but I think it'll be nicer results in the long run. We're not going to move into the 160 medians too far beyond the edges of the roundabout. That will be too much for us. So there's a potential that the roundabouts may look very in between millions of the other medians. We are working on conversations with the school. We've revisited that. The school's of course not in totally yet, but we're hoping to explore that more. Jason was able to find some landscaping designs that have been done, I think 2022-ish, What I understand is the heat from the roundabout creates a whole different biosphere in that area, so they're not necessarily native plants to Missouri, but they might be native to Arizona because it's very hot over there. So it's a whole different thing we have to explore, but we hope that with the school, they had some kids doing landscaping, maybe we can create a community-led program to make these things nice. And then sure, it would be nice to have a nice welcome to Willard sign down in that roundabout. As you enter town, let people know they're arriving, so we've got a vision and we need to find out what's doable and kind of go from there.
And in case your constituents ask, they can participate in the design, paintings and portraits and whatever they would like to participate in, but they shall not set foot on the roundabouts. So if they ask if they can go out there and plant sunflowers and petunias, the answer is no.
MoDOT wants city in there only, and we have to have the right to put them and all that good stuff, so this works with that.
Even the kids on there makes me nervous.
Yeah, I wouldn't want my kid on there at any age.
We saw a week after Highlandville, I think it was built there, that poor lady from Nix got killed on it just 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
They just finished it.
But we do want, we want participation where it can be, so designs, ideas, suggestions, anything low maintenance, we will obviously very much appreciate, because the last thing we want to do is put this in and it will die. So that was a whole different kind of embarrassing. So anybody who has the know-how will take all the suggestions they can give us.
Put some yucca.
Another change we made this morning, I've asked staff to make sure that there are staff memos on agenda items that you're considering. My impression is that packets can be a little dense, can be a little overwhelming, sometimes technical. Contracts, policies, things like that. So to try and make it open to the public and make it easy for you guys to know where to dig and where your questions may lie, we've asked them to give you a concise memo with context, suggestions, recommendations. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go with any of the recommendations they present, but it helps, I think, create an informed discussion for you guys, may help focus us in. And then I think it's going to make it accessible to the public. I've been trying to do it best I can. I know sometimes it doesn't really need a memo. Consent agenda being a good one, it kind of speaks for itself. But when we start talking about contract, what is it? You guys are busy, the public is busy. How do we break that down in a way that it can be understood and be transparent? And I think that will help a lot of people to really be involved and understand what's going on. So you should see that change here as soon as the next agenda. Update on Jackson. Engineering is complete. Public Works and Planning and Development have been out there kind of looking at what we can do in-house and what we can't do. Sounds like the majority of it we can do in-house, so we are going to work with CJW to stage that up, prepare and bid out the pieces that we can't do, so we can obtain prices on that piece and the materials that we need. So while we like the final bid pricing, hopefully within the next 28 days we should have everything bid out, ready to present, give you a solid idea on cost, savings of the pieces we can do hopefully. And that should bring some immediate changes to downtown. We're already working on a water line out that way and looking to put the hydrants in. So you'll see some movement in that area, but the nice big piece, we're going to do as much as we can in this, just so we look good. I mean, save money. And then the last thing I have on here is rate review. When we pass the rates, we committed to an annual review of that process and see how we were doing on our rates. We anticipate having a first discussion with that with the water board at the next meeting next month. From there on in, we'll present to the board kind of where we're at, letting you know ultimately what is the progress towards our reserve targets that we set for ourselves. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it somewhere in the and then recommendations ultimately for what the rates may need to change to. That was the other piece we committed to, is making sure that if rates were needing to be changed, we had those discussions early enough that Carolyn could include them in the budget and people could reasonably anticipate rate changes to occur in January or February at the latest. So we're making movements in that direction. And that is it, other than the closed session.
All right, so no new business, no unfinished business, correct?
Correct.
All right. Teresa?
Make a motion that we recess the open session and open the closed session pursuant to RSMO section 610.021, subsection 1 for legal and subsection 2 real estate.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Wheeler.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Kane. Alderman Lancaster.
Yes.
Alderman Atkinson.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson.
Thank you. So that really nice.